right? Still had the tape on it that he had tried to peel it off of the bottom of the bunk. So now they're trying to figure out what's going on. And back in this day, y'all, it wasn't no cameras in there. Wasn't no cameras in there. They had to really do police work, and they really relied on informants to tell them what went down, right? But see, check this out. Tim was so disliked by everybody. Nobody said a word. Not a word about what happened to him. And I'm going to tell you something. He kept it penitentiary. And I use that term lightly because I want y'all to understand ain't nothing real about, you know what I'm saying, the way things go in here, to the extent that it's morally right. Okay, you got to do what you got to do to survive the environment. I totally get it, right? But morally, don't try to say anything about this lifestyle and this environment is morally right or full of integrity and honesty and dignity, because it's not. This is rough, rugged, and raw, and it's as dirty as it gets. You feel what I'm saying? And the sad thing about it doesn't have to be like that, but I'll get on that in another show one day, okay? But here's the thing. Tim's in the hole. They go back there to talk to him, patching him up. The nurses have to see him. He got a little bit of chipped tooth, jaw fracture. It wasn't those, most people would have thought that he had skull fractures and all this and that. He didn't. He had a hard head. It just split him. You know what I'm saying? He bled a lot and all this and that. But other than that, he was going to be fine. Now, the people that work at the prison, they assumed that it was a retaliation about what happened to Jack, because their informants had told them that Jack was a gang member now. He was a gang member now. And that worried them just as much, if not more, about, how Jack was going to navigate this thing, even considering what had happened to him, because now he had an army behind him. And see, somebody like Jack that has been through something that he's been through, without the right guidance, without the right nurturing, can turn into a monster. And they were right. They were right. Jack had made it up in his mind that people like Tim had to go. And he wasn't finna tolerate anybody doing that. Now, when he joined the gang, they didn't realize what he was really about. They didn't realize how much his mind had been messed up because of what he had been through. They saw somebody they wanted to help. But see, a lot of us, all of us, we don't calculate how trauma changes a person into something that they are not. And now, Jack, with an army behind him, set about to take care about anybody that was on there. Any booty bandit that was on the compound, Jack was picking fights with him. He was picking fights with him. And guess what? It made its way, he found out, to one of the other gang leaders. He found out dude was a real booty bandit. And he was doing this under the cover, hiding behind his gang. The gang that he belonged to, they didn't even know the dude was a real booty bandit. This was the one that told Tim to be careful. This was the one that told Tim to be careful. Now, y'all remember Reggie? The one that Tim was after early on with Jack? Well, listen, let me tell you something. See, Reggie, even though Tim didn't get him, this other gang member did. Oh, yeah. He had tricked Reggie the same way Tim, excuse me, had tricked Jack. And he found out about it. Jack found out about it. Now, see, Reggie was on the compound. He full-fledged wearing the, y'all forgive me, but I got to keep it 100 with you. But he full-fledged wearing the Daisy Dukes. You feel me? Running around with the Kool-Aid on his lip and his cheeks like he got on some rouge, and all of that old kind of stuff, eyeliner stuff, full-fledged. So, and a lot of people thought that he was like that when he came in. He just wasn't comfortable at first. Now he's comfortable. But now, Jack found out that this particular gang leader had turned him out. And it pissed him off. He was angry about it. But see, you just can't go to war with another gang for something that ain't got nothing to do with you or your gang brothers. You just can't do that. You gotta be careful about that because they'll turn on you. And if they turn on you, then you got problems, man. You got real problems. But see, here's the situation. It gets real tricky. I'm telling y'all, this gets real tricky. See, Reggie had told Jack how he was tired of this and he wanted, and this is going to be hard for y'all to understand. Well, maybe not, because it happens in here. He just wanted to get away from this dude. But he didn't know how to do that. See, in here you don't have shelters. You don't have anywhere to run. You know? It don't work that way. You get transferred to another prison and then they tell the people at the other prison. You feel me? It's just no way to get away from it. So Reggie felt trapped. And if anybody understood what he was going through, it was Jack. So Jack told him, he said, look, what you're going to have to do, man, is defend yourself. You're going to have to defend yourself. But see, the gangs in the penitentiary, they all mess with each other to some extent. And one thing that you don't do against another gang is supply somebody else, another gang or some peon, with a butcher to take care of some business against another gang. That's off limits. You don't do that. But see, Jack didn't care nothing about that because his heart really went into the lifestyle. He was angry. And he wanted everybody that was like Tim to pay. So he gave Reggie a butcher and gassed him up and was secretly showing him how to hold it, how to use it, and do this and do that, right? And he meant it. But like I told you early on in this show, you know, you can work out and do all this and that, but if you ain't got no heart, you ain't got no heart. So you got to have a certain mental about yourself to be able to just put in work. I'm talking about just put in work unprovoked if you have to. You feel what I'm saying? You don't always get the opportunity to talk yourself into being mad or to gas yourself up or somebody else being there to cheerlead you on or gas you up. You don't always get that opportunity. You don't always get that opportunity. You know what I mean? So here's the thing. Situation here was where Jack was pushing Reggie. Reggie wanted to do this, but he was being pushed harder and faster than he was prepared to put in this work. Jack don't care. He's so angry at this other gang member, he wants him done. So he tells Reggie how to take care of the business, and he gets him a brick. But see, Reggie, he's listening and he's learning, but it ain't in him. So when he goes into the cell, he about ready to put in work and he froze, y'all. He froze. He couldn't do it. So the gang leader, he said, what do you got going on? What's this? Man, dude told him everything. Told him everything that Jack was trying to get him to do and all this and that. He told him everything about how, you know, the gang leader had turned him out and all. He told him everything that he had told Jack. Now the gang leader was spooked, but he had the advantage now because he knew what was going on. So he had the plot, man. He had the plot. And let me show you how twisted this stuff gets, y'all. I'm telling you. This is about survival in here. And you got to understand that in the fullest context that you can. This is about survival. So the gang leaders spooked that his secret will get out. He's got to protect that at all costs. So he smacked the boy. And he tell him, you're going to do everything I tell you to do. I'm going to sell you. And now you don't want to get sold in here if you're a boy. You feel me? Because Dad, look here. Man, look here. I done seen some ugly situations. They let everybody jump up and down, man. Everybody jumping up and down. And it'll get raw For real. They don't care nothing about protection. They don't care nothing about none of that. Some wicked people in here, y'all. I'm telling you now. But look, keep up with it. So here's the thing. So he tell the boy, you're going to do everything that I want you to do. And everything I tell you to say, you better say it. Because see, this gang leader's trying to make sure that can't nothing come back to him about him being a booty bandit. It's not tolerated, y'all. It's not tolerated. This has been his secret. But see, the worst thing for a gang leader or a gang member to have is a secret that somebody else knows. Because once somebody else knows it, it ain't a secret. And they can use that as leverage against you, blackmail you. I'm for real now. So check this out. So he tells Reggie to go tell the gang leader that is over Jack that Jack has been trying to holler at him. Now don't forget, like I told y'all, Reggie running around and wearing the Real Daisy Deuce, the rouge and the lipstick and the eye. So everybody think he a boy. You feel what I'm talking about? So when he goes to the gang leader that's over Jack, or one of the gang leaders that's over Jack, and tells him this, and the reason he's telling him is because he said his daddy told him to tell him. Now, they looking at him, trying to figure out what's going on because they know Jack ain't on this. They know Jack hate this. You feel what I'm saying? And that what happened to him. So they know he's not participating in this particular lifestyle. Now, they don't care if that's what he's on. That's not the issue. But they know Jack is angry about this. So now they suspect what's going on. So they step to him anyway and say, hey, man, come clean, man. Dude saying that you with it, you trying to get with him and all this and that. And they ain't hearing that. They're not hearing it, y'all. So Jack talking fast. He let them know it ain't nothing like that. Nothing like that. Excuse me real quick, y'all. Let me take a sip of this. He tells me ain't nothing like that. He said, man, I was trying to help him. And see, that's when Jack broke it all down to him. And the gang leaders, they started to see it. They like, that explains a lot. Because dude he got them tendencies, you feel me? But you kind of give the benefit of the doubt when you're dealing with other gang members, other gang leaders, particularly because they might have the same status that you got if you on the top. So you looking at it like, nah, you know, some people like it. They just like that. You feel me? But now they know. They know the other gang leaders are booty bandit. So they start checking around at other people. So they get Reggie, they get him in the cell, and they slap him around. That's common in here, y'all. I'm just letting you know what it is. Don't kill the messenger. You feel me? So they slap him around, and he tells them. Again, for Reggie, it's about survival. He been mistreated the whole time he been in. He can't win. So he gonna do and say whatever he gotta say at that particular time, right? And he telling the truth. He just don't know what else to do, how to get out of it. He ain't got that in him to fight. So he gets mistreated in here. So Reggie tell him what the other gang leader told him to tell the gang leader that Jack is under. Now it's the double cross. So they're like, oh, okay. He was trying to get us to do something to Jack because he trying to hide his secret of being a booty bandit. Twists and turns, y'all. Plots and subplots. All the kind of stuff is going on. So now, let the games begin. See, they're not going to go to war about it. See, in here, the strongest tool to have against somebody in here is not the pocket knife. It's information. It's information. If somebody knows something about you, trust me, and it's damaging to your reputation, can embarrass you, put you in a position where you can get hurt, they'll use it against you. So they step to him. The heads of the organization that Jack belongs to, they step to him with Jack, and they tell him, look here, we know what it is, right? And they tell him they ain't worried about him hurting Reggie. They don't care. Your boy told us what you got going on, right? And see, it's something about when you getting put in that box and somebody hitting you with the truth. It's one thing if they come to you and lie. You can deny, man, I don't know what you're talking about, get on, and you be disrespected by it. You feel me? And you ready to fight. But when they step to you and you know what they're saying is true, you might still put on that front like you're going to fight, right? But the truth has a way of convicting you. You know what I mean? So now he's like, man, what y'all want? And they tell him, everything you got. Now see, this particular head of the gang, he had a route, he had that work, and he had plenty of customers and getting that money. And they said, we want all that. Or we're going to tell everything to your brothers and let them deal with you. Now this is a head. It's one thing to be a head and fall from grace. You do not want that. You don't want that. Because you make a lot of enemies going up. And you're gonna meet all them enemies coming down. And he didn't want to do that. So he made a deal to let them use the route, giving them that work, letting them make money. He basically had to chop it up with them for nothing. They didn't have to put in nothing. And he had to pretend that it was cool. He had to pretend that it was cool. And now he's so mad about it, but he locked in. He don't know what to do. It ain't nothing he can do. He got to submit. He got to submit to it. And I want to end this story by saying this, right? I want to end this story by saying this. You know, this story had a lot of twists and turns in it to where, you know, you're talking about Jack one minute, then the next minute you're talking about Tim, and then the gang leaders and all this and that, right? The whole point of all of this is to let you know that you don't really want to be about this life. These type of individuals that I'm talking about don't care about you, me, and nobody else. Period. Period. But see, some people join these organizations in here for reasons other than what you hear on TV. It's not always about protection, even though it might look like it. It's not always about because they didn't have a father figure, even though that may be true. In this situation, it was about revenge. But that same revenge that he got, that same idea, that same thought that ran through him that made him want to do what he did to Tim is what's dominating him today. He cannot seem to forgive himself. And that's what I want y'all to focus on. Something happened to him that he couldn't control at that time. He couldn't control it. And even though he got his revenge, he still lives with that today, and he's struggling with trying to maintain in his mind and in his heart that he's a man. He believes don't nobody want him if he tell him the truth. He believes that won't nobody accept him. I'm talking about a woman, because he wants to, when he gets out, he wants to get married. But he's afraid to tell the truth, and he's afraid that if he don't tell the truth, that it'll be found out. But I'm going to tell you something. Free yourself from your secrets, y'all. And when you get caught up in a situation, be careful of how you go about rectifying that problem. Because, see, revenge is dark, too. It's dark. And it'll turn you into somebody that you don't want to be. But it'll also put you in a position where now you want to keep that secret. Because you can't seem to let go and accept that you're not the event that happened to you that don't define you. Just remember that, y'all. This has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and I say peace, y'all.